Hello viewers, welcome to CodeForAny. Fruit markets app inside today need to see this here the API. We need to develop this here the shop owners price related API. We need to managing here the price management. We need to add price, update price, delete price, and list of price. We need to API here the making here. First of all, so we need to create here the add price API. We need to develop here. Let's start how to create inside the Node.js. We need to write here app dot post and we need to create here the slash app API and to write down here the admins and we need to item price add API and we need to get this here the request and response functions need to write here and to write down here the helper dot delogs and we need to set this here the name of this here the price need to print here the request parameters request dot body where request object is equal to need to write down here the request dot body need to like we need to write down here and to check this here the access tokens we need to pass this here the request dot headers so need to pass here headers then request objects so need to given this here and if here the valid tokens then to return this here the user objects need to return for this callback functions and now if here and then after need to set this here the types so need to declare here the six for the here the shop admin management so need to use this here the type 3 need to checking here for the list need to declaring here and we need to set this here maybe need to other apis need to not given this here so need to fix this here the security issue need to check here access here always give this here's every API for the admin, otherwise not secure your API. To here's to check here the other API unit list. Already given this here's delete heads given update given unit set here need to make sure every API need to put this here the admin access for this API for the admin related API you need to set here otherwise need to make big mistake because need to possible to hack this API. That's why need to always check this is the authorizations with specific requirement need to specific user access need to give this here is the good way for the security. Now need to needed parameters need to check here request helpers dot need to check parameters valids and to pass this here the response object then after we need to give this here the request dot we need to call this here the which parameters need to needs first of all we need to need this here the item id then after unit id which unit related to give this price like here's and then after we need to give this here the amount price in amount selling amount for the users like these parameters need to needs if here the found this is in this request and next procedures to need to deactivate for specific this item to related this units need to deactive for this price we need to set here so otherwise need to another way need to add this here but inactive price this time need to active is that all other price you need to deactive set in set because you need to already link with here the user purchase and to related to this price it do not directly updates need to like this modifications available here if you give this here the new that's meant need to creating here the olds all are the clean need to soft delete need to call here and then after so need to add here the new price this is the right way for the update the price. Now we need to only set here the configurations. We need to set here. So we need to configure here the price. Need to write down here the db dot query, and we need to call here the functions. you, you can told like add and updates like this both are the same API we need to apply here because we need to always related to these items always need to deactive and then again so need to create new entry and we need to call this here the new price because we need to this old price are the connected maybe possible the other old orders inside the connected this price need to affect this here the results. That's why need to always need to use before the add and update so need to delete all old price and then after create here the new price. This is the right way we need to managing these years. Now we need to call this here the update query functions. We need to go inside the SQLs and we need to call here the updates and we need to remove here the price and we need this here the only status need to set here need to status is equal to need to set here the 0 for the inactive. Otherwise we need to give this here the delete is right way and we need to modifications we need to give this here the now like here and now need to give this here the two parameters items and unit clear here unit like here and we need to status not equal to 2 means not deleted like this need to managing this here the status and need to like this need to write down here and then after need to pass this here the value request object dot so need to pass this here the item id and request object dot like yours maybe need to item id is only need to check here is good way because we need to multiple units may be available. That's why I need to remove here. Now like need to creating shares maybe unit is better way need to give this here the like here the some product multiple units selling for the different package. That's why I need to give this here the unit is good way need to put here and then after we need to set this like this data and we need to set here the inactive state need to apply here and now need to get here the errors result like here if we need to get any error then we need to call this here the helper dot throw html errors and response and to return this here. Then after we need to always get this here the results here not matters success or false updated or not because sometimes need to available records and sometimes not. That's why do not put this any conditions. Now need to call this here the db query and you need to write down here the query inside the insert query need to go again SQL select here the insert remove here the price here and also need to remove this here the status columns and need to pass this here the value inside the question mark three value need to give this here and you need to put here like here need to passing this here the value first ones need to give this here the item id then after need to give this here the request dot unit id and then after slash ones need to give this here the amount and make sure so need to database defaults value for the status we need to check here need to set here the inactive state and user can manually active for this price maybe this is not right way we need to always need to active states we need to provide here this is the way for here now like this sets and to get this here the errors and result need to give this here's errors and if here the helpers dot throw html errors and when to count this here the result this means you need to call here response.json, and to get this here the status, set here 0, not 0, 1 successfully. Message items price added successfully. At this set here the message else parts need to call here, tell message we need to write down here for 0, and we need to msg else, like this we need to calls here for this data. Now need to set here the payload, need to set here for the success, we need to given this here the price id, need to define here, need to result dot insert id, then after need to give this here the item id, need to call this here the parse int, and we need to call this here the request object dot, need to give this here the item id. Again so need to copy paste this here two times, and to give this here the unit past years, and set here amount, and we need to give this the amounts written, and set here the comma request dot amount, and this is the add updates api we need to creating for the price, we need to done, we need to combine this api, if here the old, then we need to erase all price, and then after create here the new price. This is the right way, because otherwise need to affect here the old orders. That's why I need to like this scenario, and to like this we need to database inside the functionality need to use here old, we need to delete and then create here the new price. Now need to specific fruits again, so need to delete this here the price, then to write down here the f dot post methods, and to call this here api slash admin, and to write down here the item price delete, and when to call this here the api request and response, like here's already need to write this code, we need to use, and unused codes we need to remove here, paste here, and we need to remove this here the parameters inside the needs here the price id, and also need to need here the item id. It's good way, and updates inside we need to set here the status too, and we need to manage this here the price id, and we need to set this here the price id for these parameters, and we need to remove here, set this here the status like here's, and affected row more than 0 means here the successfully deleted for this record, item price deleted successfully, and otherwise need to fail response, need to return this here for the price delete, need to done here. Now another api for the price list app dot post, and we need to get this here the api slash admin slash item price list, and to get this here the parameters request object request response. Now same as we need to copy this query data, like here's need to paste, like we need to check here the access tokens, so need to not need to here the parameters of the specific items, need to need here the specific item price, we need to need then to pass this here the item id, and to get this here the all price need to get here. Now need to write down here the db query like here's, and we need to getting this here the price, we need to first of all the add this here the select query, need to call here's related to price, and we need to set this here the shortcut. So need to set here the PD and inner join related to price for the unit details table, as we need to give this here the UD, and we need to give this here the on methods unit PD dot unit underscore ID is equal to, need to check here the UD dot unit underscore ID. Like this, we need to call here and to set this configurations. Need to set here for this data, and like we need to pass here every parameters inside. Need to give this here related to item ID, unit ID, price, status, created date, and modified dates here not matters because not modify any times. And we need to set here the where conditions. We need to apply here. We need to pd dot status is not equal to deleted, and we need to get this here the data, and conditions pd dot item underscore id specific these items. We need to get this here the value and conditions, and to past years request object, and we need to give this here the item id, and to get here the response errors and results, like here's callback parameters. Now if here the gets any errors, then to check here if errors, then to throw this here the errors through the helper class, and we need to return this here the response json to call here the status. Need to set here one, and to pass this here the payload, like here, and to give this here the result. Now and one more columns need to add here for the show here the unit, and to give this here the ud dot unit name and ud dot unit value. This you need to create things like this here the unit value and unit name. So need to given this here for these structures. Need to set here and to showing related to this value, and this is the list API are the done here for this specific. If you like this video, please give the thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any question, so please write down the comment sections. I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.